Hello everyone, it's Heather and I'm here on my balcony on Royal Caribbean's Ovation of the Seas. I'm sitting oddly because I do not like these lounge chairs. I can only do this. I can only recline. And that's not comfortable for me. There's no footrests. So I just have to sit up straight in this weird awkward angle. But anyway, as is usual on Royal Caribbean ships, I'm having trouble finding a place to film because they have music playing everywhere. Now, on the plus side, I really like the music that they have playing on this ship. This ship has a vibe. This ship has a very cool, chill, elegant, mellow vibe that I really do like. But in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the things I've discovered about this class of ship. And now, obviously, my only experience with this class of ship is on this ship, Ovation of the Seas, because this is my first time taking a cruise on a Quantum class ship. So the Quantum class, which was built between and at the same time as the Oasis class, some of them are newer, I don't know, they're kind of like right alongside the Oasis class as like kind of an alternative style of ship. Our general sense of size with this ship is that it's long. It's a very long ship, but it's narrower and possibly taller. I don't think it's taller than Oasis class, but I think it's taller than like the Voyager class and probably the Freedom class and definitely like the Brilliance class. Is it Brilliance? But that class, I think it's taller than those. It's taller and longer and narrower is what our general sense is. We might be wrong, but that's what it feels like. This ship does also feel very modern. It feels very modern and sleek and elegant. That's kind of our overall feeling about it. Even though this ship is 10 years, it's going to be 10 years old next year in 2026. It was built in 2016, and it's going in for a dry dock in Singapore, the crew told me, in March. So March of 2026 when it's about 10 years old. And there's nothing really wrong with it, but I can see a couple little tiny little bits where they might want to spruce up, and I know they're going to make a couple changes, like they're going to take out the robotic bar and they're going to put in the tiki thing, like the pesky parrot like they've put in on some of the other ships, and just a couple other little tweaks like that. But overall, I think it's a very classy ship. It feels very classy and adult and elegant. I would not recommend this ship for kids or teens. It definitely has a very adult vibe. If I didn't know that Adventure Ocean was on this ship, which I haven't even seen, and I hadn't seen like the kids splash area up in the top pool deck on the one end, I would say that there was like nothing on this ship for kids at all. I'm not even so sure I would say that Seaplex, which is unique to this class of ship, which is it's an indoor multi-purpose area. When we went up there, it was set up as a basketball court. It can also be a pickleball court and other sports type things. And then they also have bumper cars. I don't know that Seaplex is necessarily a real kid-friendly alternative to having other kid-friendly activities. The other two activities that they really push on this ship, and that seem to be two of the main activities, are the North Star, which is the big arm that goes up in the viewpoint thing, and the iFly skydiving simulator, which are both on the top deck. It also has some of the same things as on other classes of ships, like the Flow Rider, and there's no slides. There are no water slides on this ship, I just realized. So that gives it kind of a cleaner look on the top, but that again is one thing that's a little less kid-friendly, I guess. So yeah, I just realized that there's no water slides on the top of this ship. So anyway, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, but the main point of this video is going to be how Ovation of the Seas, and what I'm assuming is true for the other Quantum class ships. It's very different than all of the other Royal Caribbean ships we've been on so far. And I would say even probably quite different than even the new Icon class. There are 5 ships in the Quantum class, okay? Anthem of the Seas, Odyssey of the Seas, Ovation of the Seas, which I'm on, Quantum of the Seas, and Spectrum of the Seas. Those are the 5 ships in the Quantum class. And I think the class is done. They have no intention of building any more in this class. My first impressions of it, and for Ben too, I think, what Ben said was, it's very pretty, but it's weird. And it kind of threw us off at the beginning because it felt kind of choppy and like we were running into dead ends all over the place and we couldn't figure out where we were going and we were getting lost and stuff. But beyond that, it kind of had the same style as some aspects of Harmony of the Seas, which is one of the Oasis class ships we've been on. But it also had little elements of it that also felt like Holland America in a weird way. So it's kind of a strange blend of things. But overall, I would say that it's a very classy, elegant, adult feeling ship, is how I would put it. And it has grown on me. I do think I would be better off coming on this class of ship with my partner, not with one of my kids. I mean, maybe my adult kids would enjoy it, but this is the kind of ship I would want to go on like as a couple. So, you know, I can see how it could be very romantic and it can be more elegant and just more adult feeling overall. And I'm going to explain to you a couple more things about that when I talk about what's different about it. Okay, so aside from what I've already said, like the top deck stuff and those main kind of big attractions that Royal Caribbean likes to put on their ships, there's definitely some positive things that are different about this class of ship that I think are cool and that I like. One is the 270 area in the back of the ship. That's a really beautiful venue, and it's a really neat addition to the ship. However, it has a drawback, and that's something that would normally be in that area, well, at least on Oasis class, I mean, that it's very different. I actually like that it doesn't have the huge royal promenade on this ship. So it's, you know, there's no giant mall in the middle of the ship like you see in the Voyager class, the Freedom class, the Oasis class. It's not there. There's a royal esplanade, but it's kind of more sectioned up in just little chunks. Like, it feels more natural and kind of curves through. It's more like Holland America Eurodam was than it is like any of the other Royal Caribbean ships with the royal promenade. So I don't know, there's some neat things about it and some cool venues and stuff, and I really like the music that they're playing on the ship. It's very chill and relaxed. They do change the music up for different times of day, but like right now during the day, it's a very mellow, casual, chill vibe on the ship, and I really like it. I also thought that the Windjammer, the buffet where we just went and had lunch, was very, very nice. That's probably the nicest Windjammer I've seen. It felt upscale. Like, it didn't feel like a chaotic, insane buffet experience like it does on some ships. And also, the main dining room is actually divided into, instead of having the more traditional multi-story main dining room, it's divided into 4 separate main dining rooms on decks 3 and 4 aft. And it was the same dining rooms we've seen on other ships, like on Harmony. The names of them and the style, the decor were the same, but they were divided into 4 separate rooms, which I thought was interesting and just a different way to do it. We're assigned to American Icon Grill, which has a cool look of its own, but I mean, Silk has a look of its own, the Grand has a look of its own, and then I can't remember what the 4th one is, but they're all very elegant and nice and look really neat, and it's just kind of a different way to do it. There are a lot of tables for 2, including our table is table for 2, and that also kind of gives me the impression that they're really kind of gearing this ship more for adults or couples. So there's 2 basic categories of things that are very different about this ship, or this class of ship, that I am missing. And I guess what I would say is some of my favorite things on the other Royal Caribbean ships I've been on are missing from this ship, and I'm going to tell you exactly what they are. Okay, so it's a combination of venues, I guess, and entertainment. So first let's talk about venues. And I'm sorry if I'm sweating, it's hot out here. I'm in Mexico right now. Okay, it's hot. As far as venues, there's some things that are missing that I definitely am noticing. One, right off the top, that really bums me out is there is no full promenade deck like there is on every other Royal Caribbean ship I've been on, and every Disney ship I've been on, and the Holland America ship I've been on. You're finding that cruise lines are getting rid of the promenade deck with newer, more modern ships, and I really don't wish they wouldn't. That's literally one of my favorite things about ships, is to be able to walk around on that covered promenade deck, designated for walking, and being able to walk all the way around. Now they do have a full running track on the top deck, and Ben ran it last night because he's a runner, but he didn't like it. He said it's difficult to run up there. There's too many people. It's too crowded. It's in the bright blazing sun, and there were lounge chairs pushed up on both sides right up to the track. So it makes it difficult for serious runners to run in an environment like that. On the Oasis class, they put the running track and the walking track together on deck 5, which is covered and relatively sheltered. And it has periodic places where there's like some chairs to sit in and stuff, and you can kind of lounge. And then there's, like on Disney, where there is a designated promenade deck, which people walk and run. And it's wide enough to allow for that. And there's a designated direction you're supposed to go and all of that. I don't like that there's not a full promenade deck, and I'm going to put a clip in here to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so we just came out, this is deck 5. This is the same deck that on Oasis class ships would be the full running track around, which is sheltered. But you get here to near the stern, and you can't go any farther. And the views from this walkway, I guess if you'd call it, are very limited because the lifeboats are suspended right here. So you're just kind of like trying to, oh yeah, there's the ocean, you know, over there. And it's obviously not even meant, you know, it's not like marked to be like a walkway or anything. It's really only to like access the lifeboats. Now, this is the smoking area, which is a very nice, comfortable, sheltered smoking area. But it takes one whole area that you could, you know, have views away. But then you got more lifeboats. I'm not sure what's in the place of the smoking area on the other side, on the port side. I don't know what's there. See, it's just all lifeboat stuff, so you really can't see off of here at all. There are areas where it's covered, but just briefly. There's one little seating area here. Just 7 chairs. And another one here with a few more chairs. 10, 12 chairs. But in direct sun. So really no different than being on the top deck. And then many more lifeboats. And it is a long way. I mean, you can walk a good long way here, but it's not covered like on the Oasis class or the Voyager or on the Disney ships on Magic, Wonder, Dream, or Fantasy, which has a very nice full promenade deck that goes all the way around. So we're in direct sun right now. Now granted, on the other side of the ship it's probably shady because the sun is right there. But It's not covered. There's no, you know, or even on Eurodam on Holland America, there was a full promenade deck, teak the whole way, wide, plenty of room for people to walk, plus lounge chairs, padded lounge chairs for people to sit on. That's the theater. Okay, and then you get up here toward the bow, and here's the service dog relief area. But then you get up here to the front of the ship, and that's as far as you can go, and it's roped off, and that's a crew area again. It does kind of make me wonder if at times they do let people go through here. Nope, I don't think so. Because it's just a crew door. No guests allowed in this area. So you cannot go all the way around. The closest you're gonna get is if you cut through the interior of the ship at the front and the back. Which on Voyager class ships we will do if we don't want to go up those stairs at the front toward the bow. You can cut through by the theater, but instead of going up by the helicopter pad. But I definitely don't like that there's not a full circle that you can make. And it's not even really intended for that. It's kind of a bummer. So that I feel is a definite loss. Yes, technically you still could walk all the way around by cutting through on each end. That's not really what I'm looking for. I want to be able to stay outside the entire time and also be sheltered and not have my view blocked by all the lifeboats. The second venue that I really am kind of missing is, and this goes along with entertainment, is the ice rink. The ice rink on the Voyager class ships, the Freedom class ships, the Oasis class ships is really a plus. Do they have the ice rink on Icon and Star of the Seas? I don't know. If somebody knows, let me know in the comments. But I really like the ice shows. I really enjoy the ice shows. I've always found them very entertaining. It's something I look forward to on every cruise we go on that has the ice shows. And then when they have the ice shows, they also have two things in that same space. One is there will be a day or two designated for guests to be able to ice skate. And you know, they let you use skates, and lots of people love doing that. And my kids have done that and they really liked it. Here on this class of ship in the Seaplex, they have roller skating. Ben has absolutely no interest in doing it, neither do I. And I don't know that Megan would either. My kids have roller skated. We have a roller skating rink at home, but at least for my kids, the appeal isn't there as much with roller skating. I'm kind of curious. I should almost go up there when the roller skating is offered and see how popular it is. Alright, so roller skating is going on right now, and I will tell you that it is nowhere near as popular as ice skating. There's not very many people doing it at all. But this is the Seaplex. I'll do the bumper cars if you want to do bumper cars. Yeah, there's hardly anybody roller skating, so it's ice skating on the ships with the ice rink is definitely more popular. But then the other thing that they have in the Studio B space, which is where the ice rink is on the other ships, is laser tag. They put that big inflatable laser tag obstacle course thing over the ice, and you get to play laser tag, and that's one of our favorite activities to do too. So because there's no Studio B, because there's no ice rink, we're missing out on laser tag, getting to ice skate, and the ice shows. So none of those are on this class of ship. Another thing that's missing is, obviously on the Oasis class you also have the water shows. Those are not my favorite anyway, so I'm not too bummed about that. But in that space where the water shows would be offered on the Oasis class is where 270 is on this ship, which is an indoor venue. Now I'm kind of thinking they were really meaning for this class of ship to be more of an all-weather type offering. And I was talking to the crew last night in the dining room, and they were telling me that prior to being here out of Los Angeles right now, this ship had been in Australia, and then prior to that it was in Asia, and it was out of Singapore. And then prior to that it was in Alaska last summer. I can totally see this ship in Alaska. It's going to go back to Singapore in March for its dry dock. And then they said after it's done with its dry dock, it's going back to Alaska again next summer, in the summer of 2026. So that's what they're kind of doing. And this ship offers both an indoor pool and an outdoor pool, so that makes sense. And also I would say that the North Star feature on this ship, on this class of ship, makes a lot of sense for Alaska, because that, you know, allows you scenic viewing of Alaska up there. That makes total sense. The North Star coming back down, it goes up and down every 15 minutes when they're doing it. So this is a ship that's kind of got some adaptability as far as like destinations where it could go and where it would fit. Now, along with not having the full promenade deck, something else that I'm really missing on this ship is the connection to the sea. Because there's no full promenade deck, because of some other things, you're really, even more so I would say than the Oasis class, you're really turned inward and facing inward on this ship. You're really not able, unless you have a balcony like we do, which a lot of the rooms are balconies, but unless you're on your own balcony, it's difficult to actually see the ocean from this ship. A lot of it is facing inward, so that's a difference that I don't necessarily like, that I think I would like, you know, Brilliance, Jewel, the Voyager class a little better. And then as far as entertainment, the entertainment on this ship is very adult. The show last night, I would not call that family friendly. It was kind of like Vegas style showgirls, very skimpy outfits, just singing and dancing. I was bored, and it was very kind of inappropriate in spots. Like, I mean, they toned it down a little, but I mean, it was kind of risque. And, you know, there were kids in the audience, and I don't think it was an appropriate show for a ship with families on it. I mean, it really wasn't. I'm curious to see what the other show will be. And then tonight's show is a comedian, and it looks like maybe he's a magician too, I'm not sure. We're not planning on going to that one. But another thing that we're running into is a lot of the entertainment and the activities on this ship are designated 18 and up or 21 and up. You know, if you've got a teenager, they can't even go to that stuff. So you can't go to the shows together as even with your teens. So that really kind of limits the amount of entertainment that you can do. Again, it seems more like it's really designed for couples and, you know, just adults. And then I'm noticing, I mean, there's a little bit, but there's definitely not as much as I've seen on some other cruises, and that is like the activities during the day that I like to go to, like trivia and game shows. There is karaoke, so if Megan was with me, we'd probably be going to the karaoke, but I'm not going to go to karaoke by myself, and Ben doesn't really have any interest in going to karaoke. So it's just kind of a little bit different lineup of activities and entertainment, and there really isn't anything, I haven't hardly put anything on my schedule. Because if it's not something that Ben and I can do together, I don't really like going to stuff by myself. I feel kind of self-conscious. I don't think I'd ever do well as a solo cruiser. I went to breakfast by myself in the main dining room this morning, and I felt so awkward and uncomfortable. I was sitting there among like dozens of other couples, and I was sitting there alone. And I basically like felt really self-conscious and almost like awkward, and ate as fast as I could and got out of there. I mean, the servers were still great and treated me totally fine and everything, and the food was good, but it just, yeah, I don't think I'd do well as a solo cruiser. And I wouldn't recommend this ship for solo cruisers either. So I don't think I would recommend this class of ship for families or for solo cruisers. I would recommend this ship, this class of ship for adults, and that would be either, you know, friends or groups of friends as adults, or couples is who I would recommend it for. I wouldn't come on this ship or this class of ship if you're alone, and I wouldn't come with your kids. Maybe the other ships in this class are different. If you've been on one of the other ships, Anthem, Odyssey especially, I wonder if they've geared a little bit more for families, but Spectrum, Quantum, let me know in the comments if you've been on one of those. But things that I've noticed about the shipper, it's really quite different. Oh, and the last thing I want to say, going back to not being able to have the connection with the sea, there's nowhere that you can view the ocean from the bow of the ship, except for on a treadmill in the fitness room, and there's nowhere that you can view off the back of the ship, or it's very limited. The only place I could see that you could view off the stern, so like to see the wake, if you don't have a cabin on the stern, or you're not inside in 270, would be from the one little outdoor seating area off the back of the windjammer, and that's it. There was something right above there. I'll have to go up and look. There might have been one spot of like public space on the top deck at the back, but that was it. Otherwise, it's really limited where you can see off of the stern of the ship. So again, really missing, that's like usually the best part of a full promenade deck, is being able to go and look out the bow and being able to go and look out the stern. And that's missing on this ship, so that's kind of a bummer. I do like this class, but if I take this class again, I would definitely want to take it with another adult, like as a couple or something. So I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have experience cruising on one of the Quantum class ships, let me know in the comments and tell me what you thought of it and how you liked it, especially if you've been on other classes of Royal Caribbean ship and you have, thoughts about how they compare. Let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, everyone, and safe travels.